Good evening, Rosanne Versaci. I'm a third grade science teacher at Wallace School. I'm the president of the Hoboken Education Association and a lifelong Hoboken resident. I'd like to just begin by saying, although I think the tenor of this meeting is a little better than the others, but I've attended most of the meetings and sessions regarding the new high school, and I'd just like to make a comment that the vitriol that many have spewed toward a body of men and women, mostly women, who are volunteers and give a lot of time and energy to the district and certainly to this project and to the community is really very disheartening, and I just wanted to make that comment. And now I'll talk about the high school. As a resident and as a teacher, a number of people have asked me what my thoughts are about the high school, and I've tried to sort of educate them on what the whole background is. And I said, well, the high school may not be exceeding the enrollment or the numbers that it was originally built for. But then again, you have to also consider when the high school was built, when these other buildings were built, as Mr. Castiglione mentioned, and certainly at the time when I went to school in Hoboken, if you had 30 or 35 kids in a class, that was not really looked upon, not frowned upon. But we know better now in 2022, or certainly in 2021 at least, that smaller classes are much more conducive to a better learning environment. So there's that. The other thing is that we need another elementary school. I teach at Wallace, and Wallace is, splitting at the seams. Certainly the middle school is. Connors maybe not as much, and Brant certainly is. And what are the options in Hoboken? Well, there's not really an empty parcel of land. There's not another building that we can take over. Had there been some people who were more visionary back in the 70s and 80s, or in the 80s, let's say, we might have held on to Langhoff, or we might have held on to Keeley, or we might have held on to David E. Rue. But they were sold or converted or whatever, and so here we are. I love these old buildings. I love this building. Every time I come here for a meeting, you see me, I constantly have my neck up like that because I'm always looking at the architecture. I go to all the buildings as the union president. I visit all the buildings on a frequent basis. I love the entrance to Brant, but Brant is an old building. Wallace is kind of 1970s, so it's not the fanciest, but nevertheless, but Wallace also needs some, could use some sprucing up. But Connors as well, the large staircase. These buildings are beautiful, but they're over 100 years old. Wallace, Calabro was the most recent building, but Wallace is in its 50th year this year. The cornerstone was laid in 1972. So we really need a new building. The state-of-the-art high school building that has been presented is really, it's an exciting endeavor. It's exciting for the students, it's exciting for the community. When Lucas Daly spoke, I honestly, after he spoke, I thought, what could I possibly say to add to that? But I think that the community really needs to expand their vision as to what this is really all about. We need to add a new school. We need to give the students and the incoming students the kind of facilities that they are worthy of and the kind that they deserve in 2022, not facilities that were built 100 years ago. Lastly, because I'm probably running out of time, I do want to just make a comment to some of the people who have spoken about the teachers in the district, and I take umbrage to that. I'm not sure what you base your opinions on. I'm not sure what you base your opinions on about anything about the Hoboken Public School District. If you had children in the district, maybe then I would say, well, okay, maybe you've had an experience with it. If you have visited the schools, maybe then you have a reason to speak. If you've spoken to any of the teachers and had any kind of open dialogue with them to find out, well, maybe are we not at the level that we should be? But I argue that you probably don't, and not that you probably don't, that you don't. So before you start maligning the people that dedicate there every single day. During a pandemic, we were here, and we have been here. And before you malign and denigrate I shouldn't just say but the people that I represent and me as a teacher, then okay, so I'm just going to say thank you all for your time and vote yes.